Hello guys, today I'm back with another interesting and important math tutorial. So today I'm going to be teaching you a very simple concept called the distributive property. So as you can see, I've divided this video, I'm going to divide the video into multiple sections. So we're going to go over the core idea, why it works, using it in algebra, real life examples, and common uses. So first, let's start with the core idea. So basically, the distributive property is just about how multiplication spreads out or distributes with addition and subtraction inside parentheses. So basically, mathematically, how this would work is, let's say I would just write a plus, no, a times. So a times b plus c. Now, if you're a normal person, you would just probably follow the parenthesis rule, where you would do the math inside the parenthesis first, then add, subtract, divide, or multiply anything outside of that parenthesis. But the distributive property allows us to do something like multiplying a times b first, then doing a times c. So then you would add them all up. So then you would get a times b plus a times c. So this is like the distributive property in addition. But as I said, the distributive property isn't just in addition, it works in subtraction too. So now we can write a times b minus c. So this you would just do a times b, then doing a times c. So then that would bring us with a times b minus a times c. So this is the core idea. It just involves addition and subtraction. So now let's move on to why it works. So why does it work? So the parenthesis. So in regular math, you would just do the parenthesis first, right? But the distributive property allows us to just break the math problem into smaller steps. So a times b plus c would turn into something like a plus a times b plus a times c. So yeah, that's it. So that's just how it works. Now let's go over using this with algebra. So with algebra, something like how this would work would be x times z plus y. That would turn into, well, since we already covered this, if you guessed, it would turn into you are correct. So if you guessed, it would turn into x times z plus x times y. It would turn into exactly that, because the distributive property works by breaking the equation into smaller steps. So let's actually use numbers in this now. So let's say we would do 5 times x plus 2. So first we would do 5 times x, and now 5 times 2. So now we would get 5x plus 10, because 5 times 2 is 10, and 5 times x is 5x. So now let's go into some real life examples or just word problems. So let's say you're at the farmer's market and you have 5 bags, and each bag has 2 apples and 3 oranges. So how this would work is, since we know that the distributive property works by multiplying this times 2 and this times 3, we would multiply 5 times 2 first, which would be 10, and 5 times 3 next, which would be 15. So since 5 times 2 equals 10, and 5 times 3 equals 15, when you add 10 plus 15, you get 25. So the total number of fruits that he bought, that the person bought, would be 25 fruits, which means there would be a total of 10 apples and 15 oranges. Now we almost finished this video. Now we just have to go over some common uses of the distributive property. So one way you could use it is to simplify algebraic equations. So let's say you have something like 4 times x plus 3. Instead of doing x plus 3 first, then multiplying it by 4, remember, it allows us to break the equation into smaller steps. So with this, if we're doing this with the distributive property, we would get a result of 4x plus 12. And so now the final product of this, the final result, would be 4x plus 12. Now we can't add this any further because unlike terms can't add. I'll go over that in a different video. So now another way we can use it is just mental math. So let's say we have 70 times 2 plus 3. Yeah, I know you could even do this without distributive property, but we're doing it with the distributive property. So 70 times 2 is 140, and 70 times 3 is 210. So with that, we'd get a total of we'd get a total of 350. So listen, even without the distributive property, even if we just did 2 plus 3, which would be 5, and then multiplying it by 70, it would still be 350. That's how you know that the distributive property works. So I guess that wraps it. So I guess that just wraps up this tutorial. So in conclusion, some key points are that the distributive property spreads out or distributes multiplication with addition and subtraction in an equation. And it also allows us to break down the equation in smaller steps. So I hope this tutorial helped you understand the distributive property, and I will see you in my next math tutorial. Bye everyone!